Okay, we've got an interesting question about pronunciation here. Guy with a name I can't pronounce says, I have a genuine question and I don't want it to sound confrontational. I fear it might, but please know that wasn't my intention. I'm not concerned with efficiency. I'm concerned with sounding as close to a native speaker as possible. And I'd like my reasons for that to not be taken into account. Your English is excellent, but you do have a relatively thick accent. Do you do you not think that delay in output until you have internalized the language to a significant degree could offset this? All right. So first, let's address my accent. My accent is not in English. Is not because. By the way, whenever I hear someone tell me I've got a thick accent, it's never British people. It's either Americans, North Americans, usually from the US, not Canada, or non-native speakers who are learning English and they're only used to American accents. Uh, I don't claim to sound like a British person. I don't, but I sound way closer to a British accent than to an American accent because that's the one I've been learning. So, well, a lot of people are not used to British accents. I am, but a lot of people just they only use the American accent with the rhotic R's. So it's like you'd sound, for example, rhotic R being the yeah English speaker instead of speaker. That's not that. That's not that I've got a fake accent or anything. It's the way you say it in British English. Yeah, corner instead of corner, butter instead of butter, and so on. I could try to do a hello there, Steve Kaufman here. Today we're going to talk about language learning. I can try to, but it's just weird for me. It's the one I. It's weird for me to do an American accent. I tried, and it's unless it's for comic relief, I'm not gonna do it because it's just unnatural for me. It's not the accent I learned. Also, do you not think that delay in output until you've internalized the language to a significant degree? So the thing is, my English, like everyone else where I come from, I had English very early in life. We studied English very early. English classes were terrible. We learned vocab and grammar, but very little listening. Very speaking was terrible. Was no correction. Teachers themselves spoke. They were non-native speakers. They were from Spain, and their English was awful. Like, hello everybody. Today we are going to. That was the level. So after 10 years of that, or even more, by the time I got in touch with native speakers and started speaking, and it's very very hard to to undo the damage done by so many years of bad English in classes. Yeah, I did my best when I was. I don't work on my accent much these days. I worked quite a lot on it when I prepared for the proficiency exam and I passed it. I got a good grade there. But I worked on my accent then because I knew I had to. But apart from that, also, I've never lived in an English speaking country. Never spent more than, I think, a week in an English speaking country. And most of my time abroad has been in Eastern Europe or in Germany or German speaking countries. So that's why I used to sound way more like Arnold Schwarzenegger as well. Yeah. If you think I've got strong accent now, you should have had me late early. I'm alive when I had that. I used to sound like that because that's how everyone spoke English around me. I think my accent's pretty. It's Definitely not 100% British, not even close, but I think it's 80, 90% there for the most part. But anyway, about the delaying part, yeah, it's no, not really. So the thing is, yeah, a lot of listening is necessary, definitely important, but you don't have to delay output. In fact, doing a lot of output, if it's the right kind of output, is going to be really good for your pronunciation if you do it early. If you do listening and repeating drills, native speaker audio, and you record yourself doing it, and you could even send it to a native speaker. But when you start learning a language and you listen and repeat thousands of sentences, and I don't mean thousands of sentences one time each, but let's say 1,000 sentences, 5 to 10 times each. You listen and repeat, listen and repeat, listen and repeat. You don't read, you try to sound as close as possible to what you hear it. And if you do this from the very beginning, that's output. Yeah? That's really good for your fluency as well. You're working on your ability to say a lot of stuff and to speak in complete sentences. But if you do it, if you're doing it deliberately and you're paying attention, you are working on your pronunciation a lot, and you will sound way better when you have conversations. You don't need infinite hours of input for that. Yeah, input will help as well, but doing that, lots of listening and repeating, thousands of reps of listening and repeating, paying attention to detail, and ideally having a native speaker correct you. That's going to be much better. And actually, I should probably do that in English. I've never done that many reps. When I think back, what I did when I was preparing for the proficiency exam, I didn't do that much listening and repeating even then, compared to what I do now for other languages. So I've got, I would say I've got, even if my fluency, obviously my vocab and my knowledge of the language is not as good as in English, in many languages I think my pronunciation is better than in English simply because I started working on my pronunciation from the very beginning with a lot of specific work and many thousands of hours of listening and repeating. So there's that. So I don't know. I'm concerned with sounding as close to a native speaker as possible, and I'd like my reasons for that not to be taken into account. I don't care about your reasons really, but yeah, I mean, we all have different goals, right? Most people just want to have a conversation or be fluent, understand the language, maybe integrate in the country. If you move into a native English speaking country and you want to sound as close as possible to a native speaker, yeah, then obviously doing a lot of listening and especially content from that specific country and even region is good, but you need a lot of listening and repeating practice. And this is going to be beneficial at any level. If you're a beginner, you should do a lot of this. And if you are C1, C2 level even, you should still do a lot of this. Yeah. It's it's not going to hurt at any stage of your learning process. In fact, it's going to be great at any stage of your learning process. So there's that. Lots of listening and repeating at any time. Outputs, again, if your idea of outputs, and I've seen this a lot, places like Berlin, where no one's from Berlin anymore and everyone's foreign. When I was living there, when I moved there, I started going to German language, exchanges, just German practice groups, and you show up and everyone's from either Eastern Europe, from Russia, from Syria, from Turkey, whatever, South Americans, and everyone speaks broken German with a really bad accent. Obviously, that kind of output is not going to be good at any. It's never going to help because you're not getting corrected, and also learning other people's mistakes, and your accent's going to be a complete mess of yeah, just a little bit of Arab and a little bit of Russian, a little bit of Latino here and there. So it's going to be a complete mess. Yeah. So, but if you do the right kind of output, either conversation with native speakers, and you specifically tell them to correct you, which a lot of them won't, especially people from certain cultures. They either don't care, or they think it's rude, or they too yeah, they don't feel like doing it, so they won't correct you. But if you do lots of reps of listening and repeating, yeah, your comprehension will improve and output will be great, and your speaking fluency and pronunciation both will improve, and it will help your comprehension as well. Yeah, if you're doing lots of listening and repeating reps, you your ability to understand native speakers will get better and better as well. So I do recommend doing a lot of it, especially if you move in somewhere. But I don't know. Again, I don't know why this keeping your reason secret thing is. I mean, most people have similar reasons to learn languages, but if you're a KGB spy or something, good for you. No, FSB or GRU, I guess this is it's no KGB anymore. But whatever your reasons are, I highly recommend doing lots and lots of listening, repeating reps at any stage, right? Anyway, by the way, as long as you are respectful, no need to be like, I don't want to sound confrontational, blah blah. Yeah, I do have an accent. I don't think it's fake. Whenever I ask Brits, they say it's not fake. And when I listen to myself talk, I can't really. There are things there to improve, but I can't really find anything. Yeah, it's I can't find anything that I need to work on specifically. So yeah, for the most part, I don't care much about people commenting on my accent. So yeah, any questions? Just go to the comment section.